Family, we'll begin here. Yesterday, I said that we would go back after presenting uh, two series on this, actually four, if you include what Nasi Aharon did. I don't want to separate that just because it was him teaching. I showed us yesterday that we were talking about the same subject.
Eitai, y'all was on yesterday?
I'm sorry, not yesterday, but the day before,
Oh,
Nasi.
she
The day before.
Oh, okay, okay.
Lika,
All right.
excuse me, the day before. We were not on yesterday, but the day before, the last time we were on,
Right, right, right.
I used that word repudiate, to show us that there was no separation, no division, only a continuous flow from the information that I presented in the one class preceding the two that Nasik did. That we're talking about the same thing. Uh, but
Yes.
if you're still influenced by duality, you know, it's difficult for you to see and to follow, and we get that. We get that. So yesterday it was just a way of it was a the function of that was to familiarize you with more information uh, relative to this subject that we're going to delve into today. And the subject, as always, is the uh, reconciliation with the divine feminine. And we're taking different aspects of this and approaching it from many different ways because the subject is so vast. And we're focusing on this subject, drawing the bow and shooting the arrow. All right. My goal is to empower you with the knowledge of ascension. It is a science, family. It is a science. The fall, the descent, and the inversion was an alchemical process. It was an alchemical process. Our forefathers, of course, gave human proportions to this and put it in an allegory and put it in tales and myths, so-called myths, and and different stories. But the symbols are consistent, and we want to take a look at these symbols. And that the more knowledge that you have on these things, the the more powerful you will become in directing this divine power according to your will, to your purpose, to your intent. Is everyone with me on that?
Yeah.
So
okay.
we'll begin here. We want to, again, perfect our understanding of this bow and arrow, which is really, family, the uh, the Yoni. Everything goes back to this feminine aspect. All right, of power when we're talking about creation. When we're talking about building or creating anything, we have to access this energy. And in order to
Yeah.
access it, we have to become reconciled with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what occurred during the descent, during the separation, during the inversion, all right, into the physical realm. So we started off taking a look at First Chronicles 12. We're going to do a very quick review here and really get into the new information because uh, Abba Ben Ami wants me to address something today. All right, that um, that he presented for us, but like Nasi told us, he didn't explain it. He didn't explain
Mm-hmm.
it. It was left to us, family. Many things were left to us
Yes.
to expand upon, to pick up and expand upon. First Chronicles, the 12th chapter, first two verses. Now these are they that came to David in Ziklag, while he kept himself close because of Saul of Kish. And they were among the mighty men, the helpers of the war. Listen, they were armed with bows and could use both the right hand and the left in hurling stones and shooting arrows out of the bow. Even Saul's brethren of Benjamin. Now, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this allegorical character, Benjamin, and what his name actually means. And again, it's going to give us more insight on this subject of skillfully commanding, directing, casting the divine power of the Yoni, the divine feminine energy. And family, like I said, this is the straight path that I'm teaching. It's many paths, all right? But this is the straight path to divinity. This is for us that are not see halting between two opinions,
Yes, Eitai.
dancing between uh, our human selves, our physical selves, and our divine selves. This is for
Yeah.
individuals that have made up their mind at this portion that they're going to do whatever it takes to reconcile, first of all, with the divine feminine, and then raise their energetic level in an attempt to ascend back to divinity. Are you all with me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, again, the allegorical caricatures that our forefathers, our ancestors gave us, and the allegorical myths that are attained to them, that are attached to them, are Inanna, Ishtar, and Astarte. All right. And in previous classes, we went into detail and familiarized ourselves with these characters, especially Inanna. We already know about Sophia, we should, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This is important, family, that we have a working knowledge of these allegories because the knowledge is contained within that. The knowledge of return is in um, is an understanding of how Inanna descended, in understanding how and why Sophia descended. Are you all with me?
Okay.
So we must familiarize ourselves with that because that is an allegory. Contained in that allegory is the science, is the energetic science of all of this. Okay? And we emphasize the importance of this balanced position from a consciousness level, balancing consciousness, balancing emotions, balancing energies, all the same thing. It's talking about, in this case, proportionality, mediation of human consciousness. In other words, Nasi, not vacillating between the divine and the human,
Right.
not vacillating, but an
Well, we
established,
call it between two opinions.
that's correct, between two opinions, but attaining that critical neutrality from a biological standpoint, centering our focus and our energy on the corpus callosum, that middle portion of the brain. That is the seat of authority, the seat
Yes.
of divinity, the judgment seat. Are you all with me?
Okay.
So we must keep this in mind. We looked at this word because we saw the figure of Inanna standing on the lion, all right? Treading upon the lion. This is very important that we understand this concept. And we said that that word tread was the word darak. Write that word down. Darak and Derek. Darak and Derek. Darak and Derak. It's H1869, meaning to tread, to bend, or to march. And we know that that bending is the bending of a bow. Can y'all see that this is instructive and connected to our science
Yes.
of how we command and direct and cast divine power, that divine feminine power in particular. Now, see, a hard saying, brother, a hard saying. Who can hear it?
Right.
Right.
Let's go back because when Yeshua, when he began to teach on this, he said, when he said these things in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum, and many, therefore, of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, "This is an hard saying. Who can hear it?"
Right.
Now,
Who
see,
can understand?
profoundly stuck in the physical roles. When Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, "Doth this offend you? What if you shall see me ascend back to where I was before?" This is the whole point, family.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point.
The bread of heaven going back to where it was before.
Yes.
It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. Family, the words that we speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not.
Mm-hmm.
For your divine consciousness, when it has attained that neutral position, knows everything. Now, see,
Eitai is correct. That's
knows
correct.
knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. And he said, "Therefore said I unto you that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father." From that time, many of the disciples went back and walked no more with him. This is a critical time period. This is a hard saying. This subject of the bread of heaven, of the divine feminine energy, family,
Mm-hmm.
is a very divisive subject to those that are still under the influence of the former template, of the old paradigm.
Yes.
both personal and collective. See, Malkiel, the old you is not going to allow you to follow this.
Right.
Not
Would
going to
not.
allow you to
Absolutely not.
agree at all with this.
Can.
And you're going to find you're going to reach your the highest point that you can go, and you're going to turn around. You're going to turn around just like the disciples. But we have to understand this. We have to understand this. Now, the my instructions are to teach it, whether you all hear or forbear. But to put it out, maybe you'll pick it up later on if this is not the time. But this I realize controversial. So direct means to tread upon. It also means to string a bow by treading on it and bending it so that you become the archer. You become empowered and you become knowledgeable and skillful of how to command and direct this divine feminine power that we are being reconciled to. Are you all with me?
Absolutely, Eitai.
So I'm going to give you the directions as they were given to me. Now it's up to you all to decide how to use it or whether or not you will even use it.
Use it.
All right? Or ask that word darak and the word derek, Derek, we get the word direct and direction from in English. All right? Now this direct, now see, tells us how we descended, how the divine feminine descended. It descended downward in a straight line.
Yes.
It descended downward in a straight line, undeviating. All right?
Yes.
Now, at some point, it separated physically, and then it became three paths: the straight path, a male path, and a feminine path. Right brain, left brain. I'm teaching the straight path. If
Come
you're
on now.
biased, if
Come
you're
on.
biased to the left, you're not going to be able to follow because we're not in agreement. Now there's a way up, but it's not the straight path. There's a right brain path as well. It's not the straight path. Now see,
Right.
it meanders, it wanders from one side to the other.
Yes, right.
This is straight path stuff, family. This is not for everybody.
Right.
In order to follow this path, we're going to have to revisit a subject and a statement that Ben Ami made. Let there be darkness. Now, Nasi talked about this. And he said that it was strange that, or curious, that a chapter within one of the book. What book is that, Nasi? Imitation of Life.
Imitation of Life, first chapter.
First chapter is "Let There Be Darkness." It's curious that see the scripture doesn't talk about. I mean, the scripture that we're familiar with, Nasi, says, let there be light. So it's curious to why Ben-Ami said, let there be darkness.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book titled Imitation of Light, get with me, y'all. See, your humanity, family, is an imitation of life.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
This is where we've been. See, we're going to break this down, family. Let there be darkness. Nasik, if you could, or someone online, but Nasik, you're familiar with the chapter that you covered. I mean, the portion that you
No
covered
problem.
in that first chapter. If you could get that for me,
Yes, sir.
and re-emphasize what you, or restate or re-quote what you quoted, and then re-emphasize quickly, expound upon that as you did before, because this is very appropriate.
Own the family. We're reading Imitation of Life, chapter 1, page 1. And the quote was, let there be darkness. Now, I'm going to just touch upon the little portion of it to get to the point. It says, as I pondered in prayer and meditation, the magnitude and depth of spiritual warfare. You got to hear now, because we're talking about this is the war,
Yes,
the imitation and the organic. That's warfare.
that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
I consider those that understand its significance and the army arrayed against them. And it became relatively clear while the harvest is great and the labors are few. Then he goes on to say, I understand why my parent would say, quote, right, son, but not in our lifetime. And that's what Eitai is talking about now, because
Mm-hmm.
you got to make a decision whether you're ready to
Yes.
do it now, or you're
Yes.
going to say, well, it's too difficult. I can't really
Right.
understand that. This ain't for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how we push it off. But I'm going to skip down to one of the major portions here. It says, spiritual warfare is a war of words. The words I speak unto you come from and are spirit. These words articulate something biblically called truth. They are at war against universally accepted lies. Lies that define when an individual is living, when a civilization is great, lies that pay teachers their salaries and give children their pride. Understanding much is at stake. As a matter of fact, predetermined definition that has been in place now for the entire existence of this civilization, the civilization of deception. Okay? Civilization of deception. It said, affect the lives of all people upon the planet. Predetermined definitions and perception, social engineering,
Yes.
inverted energy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have been planted deep into people's subconscious minds,
Yes.
and thereby influence and oftentimes totally control their action and mindset. They need not speak one word publicly in overt opposition. Their ingrained definition will cause them to automatically misunderstand and subsequently oppose. If that ain't duality, you
Yeah.
see, when your human element and experience that we've had, when anything that's spoken in opposition to that, it absolutely cannot be right. You must take up arms on behalf of your humanality, your physicality, and you must go to war against something that is in opposition to that, because now what happens is somebody is what they call, challenging your intelligence.
Right.
And that cannot happen.
Right.
You have to coming on. He said, they are the unknown army trained to defend the lies and prolong this destructive civilization. A primary example or predetermined definition purported to be your guiding light to salvation touch upon the following: God, worship, righteousness, religion, resurrection, Messiah, etc. Keep in mind, as it is written, the devil has deceived the whole world. Now, we went from there to page 69 to kind of put it in perspective. Page 69 was where we started our actual information to bring all this out. And at the bottom page of 69, where it said, once you become conscious, you thus continue to develop your consciousness to the highest level possible.
You must.
Higher consciousness.
You must. You must.
Higher consciousness, right, increases your dynamic energy and becomes the source for sustained higher development. On this plane, the individual will become consciously aware of the subconscious influences. Now, as Eitai just explained about the inversion, was the feminine was what? Inverted inward and made the masculine, and the masculine became the feminine.
Right.
So then you look up now, what's running the world? Masculinity.
That's right.
Feminine be completely dogged out, which this leads me, Eitai, and I'm going to say it at this point, what Eitai hit on the other day when he brought the word up that I had originally used, repudiate.
Yes.
The revelation came to a solution to divine marriage. I got it. Completely got it. It's going to what? Reverse everything. Not only just divine marriage with a man and a woman, but it what cleans up everything. That's what Eitai is touching upon here today. So this has been very, very meaningful for us in this season. Closing this out, he says, on this plane, the individual will become consciously aware of the subconscious influences and the forces, both internal and external, which in the past have shaped his life, nature, and is impacted upon even the functioning of the universe. And then we went from there to page 71. Since energy is essential to the achievement of any objective, spiritual warfare, energy is not destroyed. Let us consider this from a mathematical perspective. As the errant spirit develops a formula to weaken and yet at the same time energize.
Yes.
In math, it is called a reciprocal or inverse proportion. Inversion, remember, an inverse proportion.
Right.
A proportion which contains a reciprocal ratio. In other words, whatever was inverted in and you accepted that, that's all it can give back.
Yes.
If deception was what? Inverted inward, what is going to come out? Nothing but deception.
That's right.
He says, Satan dehumanizes you and reasoned that you were human, made you anti-God yet religious, made you foolish with reasoning that you were intelligent, and has maintained and prolonged your captivity, reason that you are free. Final portion. The adversary, by the application of scientific social engineering, creates inverted energy. This is energy turned to a contrary direction, changed from what was formerly the normal order. And we'll stop right there. Now, the normal order: feminine, masculine. unity and wholeness in oneness.
Yes.
That's the normal order. But outside of that, when you reverse it from the normal being whole into a part and one element of that separated from another, you are in a profound duality.
This is what we want to emphasize, Nasi. Toda. Toda. Excellent. This is absolutely, we can't get off of it, family, because it is so profound. And it goes to the heart of everything. So let there be darkness. Okay. This, Nasi, this statement in and of itself is reverse of the normal order, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It is changed from the normal order. This was brilliant. This was brilliant what Ben Ami did. So
Yes, brilliant.
let us take a look at this, because this is directly related to what Nasi just articulated and what we are emphasizing over and over again, repeatedly, because we must understand all of the factors that went into the fall and the descent. It is no doubt, Nasi, even though it was not stated doctrinally, by Ben Ami, he's talking about the fall, the descent, the separation from wholeness into duality, and the inversion.
Absolutely. That's what he talked about.
But but very few people have picked up on this.
Very few.
Very few people have picked up on this. And we must continue to emphasize it, because it is incumbent upon us. The first step, Nasi, must be to convert that which was inverted.
That's the first step.
So let us take a look scripturally at Job 18, because our ancestors laid this out. See, now Abba talked to us about this language and these words, right? Predetermined definition and perceptions have planted deep in the people's subconscious minds.
Yeah.
Thereby influence and oftentimes totally control their actions and their mindset. See, this is going to be, our predetermined, not just predetermined words rather, but the predetermined words and predefined words, Nasi, that lock us into these human roles and personas and identity. This is, we got to talk to you about the profundity of this, and the all-encompassing, all-enclosing nature of this thing. We have all been captive by this.
All of us.
All of us.
Yes. Yes.
Just as sure as we were captive within the womb, follow me now. We were captured by this. As sure as we were enclosed in the womb, we were, and as you follow me, you're going to see this, that we were born into this. That we were born into this. But all of us, Nasi, carried a light, carry a divine light with us. We've carried it throughout all of that process.
Right.
The descent, the separation, and the inversion.
Right.
Job 18, this is let there be darkness. Follow me now. The light of the wicked shall be put out.
Right.
And the spark of his fire shall not shine. That spark is what we were given. It's the gift of the divine feminine. It's the gift of Sophia. You all remember.
Yes.
Right.
It's the gift of Prometheus in the Greek tale. He gave the people fire, right?
That's right.
That is this spark, that divine spark that we carry with us. And I'm going to tell you where it's located bodily. It's located in the pudendum, in the male and female organs.
Yeah, that's where it has to be. That's it.
Hard to hear, hard to hear.
Come on, Shells.
Come on, Eitai, that's it.
The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and the candle shall be put out with him. That's talking about how people that if we don't get this, family, if we don't ignite this spark that is within us, if we don't uncover this light and let it shine, our energy, we're gonna become more and more innervated,
Yes.
more and more weakened,
Yeah.
until we finally what? The flame is extinguished, and then we got to start the trip all over again. Hey, go back and get the light, and be born back into this until we get it right. Now I'm done, family. I'm done.
Yeah, me too.
Likewise. Likewise.
And
Yeah.
So these instructions are on the straight path. And those that are going to follow along, come on. But those that turn back, then you got to do it over again. You got to do it over again. And we have, it's just that simple now, see? It's just that simple. I wish you well, but I know where I'm going.
Okay, Shells.
We're talking about this darkness. If you don't utilize this light, then it's going to be put out.
Now, Eitai, you see this language you really got to hear and understand, because you're hearing one thing,
right?
But you're not probably hearing. We all are. I say this, but we all ain't hearing the same thing.
I got it, Nasi.
Right.
I got it.
Yes.
I just leave it like that.
Right.
Yes.
We all listen, but we're not hearing the same.
That's correct.
But we're in light. We use the light and darkness.
That's right. We'll make it plain, family. Our ancestors have laid this out. We're gonna make it plain. Isaiah 9. Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation. Well, who is that?
What verse is that, Eitai? What verse is that?
Isaiah 9, starting in the first chapter.
Okay, first chapter, first verse, you mean?
I'm sorry, 9th chapter, starting in the first verse, reading to verse 3.
Okay.
The dimness shall be not such, shall not be such as was in her vexation. Inferring the divine feminine.
Yeah.
When at first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. We're going to come back again, family, and decode all this.
All right.
I want to show this in broad brushstrokes so that we all get to see. And afterward did more grievously afflict her. Write the word grievously, and grieve, and grief, and gravity down. More grievously or more gravely afflict her. Are y'all with me? Gravity. See, when we fell into ourselves, now see, it created weight, density, physicality.
Yes.
Be
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Turning in on itself.
That's
what
also
gravity
grave.
Grave.
They say someone's in grave condition. Yeah, grave.
Come on, Mr. I quit teaching my class now. We all know this now. See, we all know it.
Sleeker.
Yeah.
And afterward did more grievously afflict her, where? By way of the sea, beyond the Jordan. Now, see,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan means to descend down. It means
Right.
descender. But this was beyond the Jordan. Like Miss Hurrah said, the grave. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
In Galilee, beyond the Jordan, in Galilee of the nations. The people that walked in darkness, now see, have seen a
Yeah.
great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now listen, family, listen very carefully, because this third verse is critical. Because this is what we did. We have multiplied the nation, now see,
Yeah.
but we have not increased the joy.
Right.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Didn't it say you did not serve the Lord with fear and gladness of
Right.
heart? See,
Right.
if you don't have an esoteric and occult understanding of that, you're lost.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The joy before thee, according to the joy of the heart. I mean, they joy rather before thee, according to the joy in the harvest. And as men rejoice when they do what? Divide the spoil. We're going to come back and break it down, family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee you, and I assure you that it goes right along with what we're talking about.
Yes.
Skillfully commanding, directing, casting the divine power of the Yoni,
Mm-hmm.
the divine feminine energy. It is Nasi, it is hidden within the language.
Yes, it is, Eitai.
So the father, Abba, Ben Ami, counterintuitively and paradoxically stated, let there be darkness. But in the scripture, it says, let there be light.
Yes.
Yes.
Follow me. We're going to break this down, family. We're going to break this down. And I promise you, it is all going to be in line with what we wrote down so far. We said the word tread was the word darak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is etymologically and phonetically connected to the Hebrew word derek, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Derek. Follow me now. Follow me. Let there be light, and there was light. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Genesis 1 and 3. The word light, family, is the word or, illumination or luminary. The ancestor just showed me something. The word or, does anybody know what the word lion is in Hebrew?
Yeah. REA.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this, family. See, Ari is going to be connected to the word or, that means light. Watch this. Ari,
Wow. Oh, that's too much. Wow.
and
Mm.
from Ara, and it also means to pluck and gather grapes. All right.
Yeah.
But I know what that means. See, the person that is not familiar with this language, Doesn't
Yeah.
see it, and it also means gathering light. It
Mm-hmm.
is, trust me, it is connected to the word or light.
Right.
So
Right.
this is somebody that is on top, that is treading on the light of knowledge, the light of the teaching.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The power they've harvested the power of light. Follow me now. I'll come back and prove that, family. So light is or, all right, meaning
Right.
illumination or luminary. Jeff Benner, his number is 1020-JN.
1020 what?
1020 1020
I see.
dash
Right.
JN in the
Mm-hmm.
in Jeff Benner's book.
Right.
And I don't know.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, y'all
Right.
know
I'm
what I'm
familiar.
talking about. In Jeff
Yes.
Benner's book,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
he defines the word order as a box. Boxes are
Right.
used to store items and to keep them in order. Light is also necessary for order.
Mm-hmm.
English word order, with the addition, the English word, with the addition of der, also meaning order in Hebrew, as in seder, an ordered
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
arrangement. Follow me now. Follow me.
Mm-hmm.
It is very interesting and extremely instructive to note that the Hebrew word der, also meaning order in Hebrew, is the parent root of many words associated with so-called divine order and authority. So again, when we go back, family, to the laws, statutes, precepts, we're not talking about something that an allegorical character called Moses wrote
Right.
down on no tablets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the instructions of truth and
Yes.
your divinity that is within you.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me now. This so-called divine order and authority. The word direct. Now remember, treading on the lion, treading on the light, overstanding the light, right? The word is associated with this word derek, H 1870. Now see, in Strong's, meaning a pathway or course of life. Didn't I say that I'm teaching you all the straight path?
Straight path. Yes.
All right, the direct
Mm-hmm.
path is translated as the word way in the Bible. It is used in many instances to refer to laws, commandments, or instructions of Yahweh, the God of the Bible. See, this is where many of us are going to get stuck here.
Come on, shows.
The laws, commandments, or instructions of Yahweh are essential in establishing and maintaining order and control, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Within the kingdom, that is Malkuth,
Cool. Yes.
hierarchical construct. If you look
Mm-hmm.
at the tree of life, Malkuth is at the very bottom.
Bottom. Yes.
It is the grave. It is the
Yes.
underworld. It is the lowest depth at which you can fall, physically speaking, family, physically, materially speaking. I know we've made the kingdom concept in the way that we've used it the highest expression.
Right. Come on, shows.
But I'm telling you, this is
Yes.
what our ancestors did. Now see,
Yes,
inversion,
sir.
inversion.
That's it.
You would have to think that way. Moreover, we get the English words direct and direction from the Hebrew word direct. Follow along now. Both these words connote guidance, instruction, or direction, that is, destiny, fate, fortune, etc., within the hierarchical system or kingdom Malkuth construct. What is truly revealing is that when you combine the two words or and der in reverse or inverse order, you get the word der or. The Hebrew word der or. Look it up. H 1865 means to move rapidly as a bird in flight. Stop.
Mm.
Did we talk
Wow.
about a bird? Did we talk about a
Wow.
bird the other day, fam?
Yes. Yes.
We
The
talked
quail.
about the quail.
The quail, right.
Looks like, because of its weight, looks
Yes.
like it moves slowly in flight. Because of its weight, because of gravity,
Yes.
gravity's effect upon it. Follow me, family. Follow me. It means to move rapidly as a bird in flight. Figuratively speaking, der or means freedom. Now, what birds do we connect symbolically to freedom?
The eagle.
The eagle is one.
Eagle. Yep.
Eagle.
And which one is what is the other one?
Hawk. I don't know.
Yeah, the hawk, the falcon is another one. Name me another one.
The phoenix.
Huh?
Phoenix.
The phoenix.
Well, I know the little hummingbird goes fast, but it's small.
What about the dove?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What about the
Yes.
dove?
Yeah.
Y'all know
Yeah.
do y'all know what the word dove is?
He-
The Hebrew word that is used to translate the word dove? It's the word Yona, which we get the word Yoni from. All of it is connected. All of it is
Oh, the love dove.
See, look,
Mm.
see
Uh,
the eagle family and birds of war are a result of the inversion of the old symbol. All right, I'm gonna
Yes.
prove it to you. The eagle is symbolic for freedom in the United States, right? But what is the capital of the United States?
Washington,
What
D.C.
Washington?
What does DC stand
Wait, the
for?
capital.
What does DC
District
stand for?
District of Columbia.
What
Oh, district.
what
Yeah, it's
bird
a
is
district.
connected with Columbia? It's the dove. It's not the eagle, it's the dove.
Mm.
Hold on. See, we got to get in the habit of following this language, family.
gotta get in the habit, right?
Columbia, Columbia. These words, Columbia. Let's see if they do it. Now they're giving us a surface understanding. Let's do Columbine. Popular name of a garden flower. Or directly from the medieval Columbina, verbena, feminine of the Latin cumbinus, literally dove-like, from columba, dove.
Gotcha.
Listen, the inverted flower supposedly resembles a cluster of 5 doves. Let me show you these doves in the symbology. A cluster of them. Watch this.
Yes.
Y'all see this brother riding a cluster of doves here?
Uh-huh. Come on, shows.
It's hidden, family. You're not going to get it by a surface reading of the scriptures. You will not.
It's very concealed, isn't it?
It's concealed. They had to hide it from us. Our ancestors had to hide it from us because now, see, we had to descend down totally,
Yeah,
totally.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But this is this day of separation. It's a hard hearing. It's a hard saying, a hard teaching, hard to hear because of this inversion process. And like Nasi say, when you're presented with the truth and you're still dualistic, you're presented with holistic truth and you're still dualistic, what's going to happen? You're going to fight against it with your heart, soul, and strength.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to think somebody trying to take your life.
yeah.
And because you still want to hold on to your humanity.
Yes.
Dang.
That's why many turn back, family. Many turn back.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the disciples, the inner
Mm-hmm.
circle, and follow no more. Does it make sense?
Crystal clear, shows.
So the Hebrew word der means to move rapidly as a bird in flight. Figuratively speaking, der means freedom. And the term free as a bird is derived from this Hebraic thought. Thus, even the very words of the Hebrew language instructs us that if one desires freedom in the truest sense of the word, then he must move quickly to reverse, counter,
Yes.
or transcend the system of order imposed upon us by the usurpers or the custodians of the hierarchical social, mental, cultural, economic, etc. construct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can say it any clearer.
No question, shows. And Eitai,
Go ahead.
when you say moving quickly, that's the straight path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The time is short. It's no guarantee. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, when the house is on fire, I find the quickest route out. Even if
Right.
it's at the store
Yeah,
window.
right.
You don't know how long this thing is going to stand. I
Mm-hmm.
want to, on that note, I want to show you all. I want to put a bookmark here, and I want to give, like when we were in school, we used to give a current event report, current events report. You all with me?
Yes.
We would do current events often, you know. So there was several current events that occurred, or two in specific, that I want to point out, and I posted it. Uh, Let me see. Um, it has to do with our teaching on what the name Barack Obama means in Hebrew. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah. Yes, yes. It take it so long to open
That's all right.
my mic.
So we
Yeah.
sit amidst this turmoil that is going on in the nation's capital,
Mm-hmm.
in the White House, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, former President Barack Obama, on the 7th, addressed the nation relative to the midterm elections. and he broke protocol, family,
Yeah.
and criticized a sitting president.
Yes.
And we said that and I don't want to talk about this and just focus at all on the political implications of this. I'm not interested in Barack Obama, the politician, but I
Mm-hmm.
am interested in what his candidacy meant and means. Um, let me get the other. Uh, I might not have posted it here. So on the 7th, he stood up and went directly uh, at the president. And I wrote what I posted. I said, a lightning strike from on high. That's what his name means. Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Once you decode it in Hebrew, you translate it in Hebrew, it means a lightning strike or a sword strike from on high. And I say it's about to go down. If your eye is single, you can see it.
Right. Come on, Shells.
I just put this up, and let me see. I'll put up the actually I did a small teaching on this. Oh, uh follow me now. There was an interesting event that took place the other day. Lightning directly struck the White House. How many people saw that?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. They
Well,
showed it. They televised.
it's a fact. It struck the White House, and it was at a very critical time. This thing is coming apart, not just Trump's presidency.
Right.
This whole system ended the day that they inaugurated Obama in
Mm-hmm.
2008. It was over.
Yes. Yes.
It was
Mm.
over. And then Trump is exactly what his name indicates.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
connotes. It was they were trying to trump this. So you see this desperate move, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it incorporates family, all of the individuals with racist sentiments, neo Nazis, KKK, they all came out in support. You know, all of these, individuals that vibrate on that frequency because they knew something deep within themselves when they saw this man of color, this melanated human being, ascend to the highest height, to the top of the mountain, family, to the top of the mountain. So, interesting event. Lightning strikes the White House the other day. Interesting fact. Barak, that is Barak in Hebrew, means glittering, like a flashing sword or a lightning strike. You got to follow this, family. Obama, that is Bama in Hebrew, means heights or high place. That
Mm-hmm.
is on high.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama's ascension to the high place, that is the White House, and all you got to do is look up White House, its esoteric meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be able to put all this together. This is a later class that I'm going to do later on down the road, but if you want to do it, just look up the esoteric meaning of White House, and you'll see this laid out in perfection. Barack Obama's ascension to the high place or White House in '08 symbolizes the end of an era, a dominion, a lightning strike from on high. Trump was chosen as the antithesis of and counter to Obama, whose candidacy was emblematic of the rise or restoration of the ancient black nobility. The symbolic lightning strike that dramatically signaled the end of the former or current dominion. the recent lightning strike on the White House, as well as the giant sinkhole that opened up on the White House lawn. Yes, that did happen recently.
Yes. Yes, it did.
And the unprecedented drama, scandal, and turmoil that is currently raging behind the doors of that building are the exclamation points on what was expressed globally from 2008 to 2016. Rest assured that the powers that were, not the powers that be, the powers that were have played their last trump card. It's over. Stay up, stay tuned. So this is the same. See, the former order is over.
Eitai,
Yes,
can I add a little bit to that? Because
absolutely.
on that same day, September 7th, Devora saw the rainbow. That
Absolutely.
picture.
She put it up.
Yes.
Everybody is saying we seeing this bow,
Yes.
and it's time. It's this bow, y'all.
Yes. Yes.
It's time for this teaching. It's time for this
Mm-hmm.
transition.
Mm-hmm.
Time for this transition.
Yes.
We know that the American government, governmental system, embodied the masculine element,
Yes.
was the embodiment of it, and that energy all
Mm-hmm.
throughout the planet, all throughout the planet. So, we have to look, family. We have to realize that that former order is over.
Yes. Done.
That the former paradigm, everything that is attached to that former paradigm is being
Yes.
judged. It's being judged. It's being challenged. They even got the nerve to have a black James Bond right now. What does that tell us? Colin Kaepernick,
Right. Yes.
the
Yes.
face of Nike right now.
Nike. Yes. Cane shows.
Come on, y'all got to see this, man. This
Yes.
is overturning. This is
Mm-hmm.
overturning. Imitation of Life, page 72. The adversary, by application of scientific social perception engineering, creates inverted energy. We have to realize that this is what we're dealing with now. This is the energy power turned to a contrary direction, change from what was the normal order. Now, this has to do with these divine energies, family. Before we think about anything social, cultural, familial, relationship related, we have to think about this divine energy, which went from
Mm-hmm.
wholeness to uh, to duality, and then the divine feminine descended first and was
Yes.
inverted. The order was
Yes.
inverted. This
Yes.
energy power turned to a contrary direction, changed from what was the normal order. We now turn to the two forces, which have two different perceptions of this expending of evident energy or power. One perception is that the person is highly motivated and energetic, that is, alive. We've all been we've all when we talk about Misura, the grave, we're gonna understand now that what we thought when we were being born into this life, that we were actually stillborn,
Mm.
in need of resurrection.
Yes.
The other is in contradiction to this, is that this person is inert or dead.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that words, education, can completely transform the chemical makeup of the soul. And it has done that.
Yes, it has.
In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with
Mm-hmm.
God. The Word was God. All things that came into existence, have their being, are sustained by and destroyed by this Word,
Mm-hmm.
making it a complete opposite in nature and effect. So we're laying this out now, but we have to connect it. Our duty is to take this um, from just something that is abstract and give it its proper and true proportions. And the proper and true proportion of this is, of the descent, is the descent of the divine feminine. The female being has been chosen by the creator, or has really volunteered for the role, to be the portal between the spiritual realm and this physical realm, the only force on earth powerful enough to navigate unborn spirits into this planet. So let us take a look, family, as we begin to close at this process. We're gonna take a look back, and because we have to have this framework in mind, and we have to be articulate in this framework in terms of our understanding. Now remember, this painting by William Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone with me?
Yes.
Do you see his hand? I told you to write down the hand of Moses,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is that yod, yada, yada, yod, that hand, yud, that hand. Very important. Very important that we understand our symbols. That the hand over the head, that this is the descent of divinity. And it was the divine feminine that descended all the way down into gravity and into the grave and into grief and a grievous position. And like we said, she was what? Grievously afflicted
Yes.
beyond what? The Jordan, even
Yes.
beyond the descent
Mm-hmm.
into the underworld. This is Inanna's descent into the underworld. This is Jesus descending into the underworld, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Into the body of the earth, into the womb of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, right?
Absolutely shows.
This is water finding its greatest power by doing what? Seeking or descending or plummeting to its
Its
lowest point.
lowest point.
This is where we are at the end of the plumb line. And you see that the plumb line in its very shape is the triangle with the point downward.
Mm-hmm.
Power. The point is the power. Downward, downward. Into what? A direct descent, a straight line descent into the lower realms. Does it make sense, family?
Can shows.
So we have to familiarize you with this. You have to familiarize yourself with this as well, because everything that we cover from now on, especially as it relates to um, reconciling ourselves with the divine feminine
Yes.
and activating that power and then directing that power, it must be understood within this
Yes.
framework of the descent.
Mm-hmm.
uh, within the framework of the descent, within the framework of going into duality, splitting, separating into duality, and as it relates to the inversion, because you're going to have to solve these things. And the
Yes.
only way is through the hand of God. The hand of God is Yud. It is Yad. It is Yada, which means to know, to know, to know. Not to believe, not to guess,
Come on, shows. Yes.
but to know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to know exactly how to activate this. And believe me, the process is simple. It's very simple. But if you're dualistic, you're gonna find your way out. If you're continuing to uh, vacillate and to dance between your divinity and your humanity, you're gonna tap out.
Okay, shows.
You're gonna tap out. You're gonna resign. You're gonna give up. You're gonna quit,
Mm-hmm.
and you will never experience accessing your divine power. Never. Not on this trip.
Right.
Not on this go round. So it means that you're going to continue to be inert, to be innervated, and then that spark that you have, if it's not what? If it's not fanned into a flame, what happens to an ember and a spark? It's weak, right?
Yes.
From,
Mm-hmm.
from the get-go. It's
Mm-hmm.
weak from the get-go. So it's just going to burn out. It's just going to burn out. And guess what? You got to go back. You got to go back and get another ember. And how do you do that? It's called reincarnation.
Yes.
So this term, as we close, family, much more to learn. But I want us to just get the basics. I want us to get the basics on this, and we're gonna find ourselves repeating the information over and over. Vishinantam, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but this information is so critical, and I know it seems strange. I know it doesn't follow the usual course. It's not supposed to.
Right. Right.
The usual course continues on a downward descent straight down.
Mm-hmm.
It only it causes you to remain in an innervated, inverted, inert position.
Yes.
It's part of the old um, it's part, family, of the old paradigm. It's part of the old paradigm. And we have to recognize the difference. We
Mm-hmm.
must recognize the difference. We have to reverse the order. And reversing the order, again, is the Hebrew word der or, which means to be as free as a bird. So we got to talk about these birds, right?
Yes.
Symbolism. In symbolism, we began talking about that yesterday. And before we get there, I'm going to read this. All right? We read the scripture that says, in relationship to this darkness and the divine feminine being uh, under vexation and being grievously afflicted in Isaiah 9, it says that the nation was multiplied, but the joy not increased. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to this scripture that we should be familiar with. When a man have taken a new wife, he shall
Yes.
not go out to war. You're going to have to become holistic,
Mm-hmm.
not in conflict. Neither shall he be charged with any business, not in competition,
Right.
holistic, but he shall be free. That's that word there or, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There or free at home 1 year, and shall do what? Cheer up his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You have to increase her joy. See, the nation, we've been trying to establish things without understanding how to what? Raise and elevate
Okay.
divine feminine energy. Raise and elevate this divine to increase the joy, to increase the joy, to cheer up. Are you all with me? Understand
Okay,
that this
shows.
does not have anything to do with, I'm not going to instruct you on no, you know, what's his name? What's the preacher's name? They always be talking about men and women. The kind of chubby guy, real popular.
You say he's a preacher?
Yeah,
TJ.
TD Jakes. Yeah, I ain't talking about no TD Jakes books. No Steve Harvey books.
Right, right, right. Come on, shows. Yes.
None of that. None of that pop culture stuff
Mm-hmm.
that has nothing to do with the. That's political. That's social. That's familiar. We're talking about working with the elemental energies
Yes. Yes.
alchemically.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have some social impact and implication? Yes. Does it have cultural impact and implication? Yes. Does it have impact on relationships? Yes. But we're going to the core of all that. That's like
Yes.
Nasib was just saying that, once you get in a grasp on these elemental aspects,
Mm-hmm.
you can solve divine marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You can solve relationship issues.
No question, shows.
But you better not start, going in there talking about no pop culture type stuff. You've
Right.
got to deal with these energetic elements, increasing the joy, increasing her joy, energetically working to activate, to first of all, to reconcile with this feminine energy, to activate it and to raise it to divine levels of vibrational frequency. Does it make sense?
Okay.
So this is what we're talking about, family. This is what we're talking about. As we close, last statement, we're going to talk about this word gravity. Going forward, we're going to talk about gravity in the descended aspects and gravity in the ascended aspects. Remember, we said we have to take a what? Bottoms up approach.
Right. Yes.
We are in this world, we are in the physical, but that the physical doesn't define, or it shouldn't define us.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are still profoundly defined and desperately holding on to this, this persona, this physical persona. It's going to make it very difficult to even participate on this. So, with this. So, we talked about the William Blake picture, the hand on the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pushing us down into ourselves energetically, pushing us down so the crown chakra becomes the root chakra. the head becomes what? The sole of the feet on
Mm-hmm.
that same level. So in order to arise, now this is symbolically now, it's going to take the same laying on of hands on the head. That is the meaning of the word samak. All right. Let's talk about this in terms of the descent, and we'll end here. The arrow, downward pointing chevron or triangle, represents gravitational acceleration arrested, that is, innervated, and energy created from such. So, like Nasik said, that if it has been innervated and inverted, then the only result the energy is going to be inverted and energy and innervated as well. It is not going to be ascended, it's going to be descended.
Mm-hmm.
So gravitational acceleration downward, inverted, innervated. Gravity is akin to the power of the descent. Gravity is akin to the power of descent or fall and exerts that power in straight lines. Remember the definition of direct. We fell directly down and descended in a straight line in a
Mm-hmm.
vertically integrated attitude or motion. Motion, which we know is the effect or result of polarity, dualism, and separation, follows that downward force in a straight line. Listen, family, the object is prone, tends to follow a straight line unless affected by another object. Dynamic interaction with another object has the potential to change the downward attitude, motion, trajectory, tendency of that object under the influence of the gravitational force. Matter is space knitted, that is, space set in motion and slowed down. Space is set into motion and creates a current that is closed upon itself due to the pressure of surrounding space. That's what happened. We are closed in upon ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and are kept locked in.
Yes.
It creates boundaries and density differentials, and the spin creates vortexes, and the vortex is causing us to descend uh, more and more in the one direction. Space pushes these outward, uh, pushes these towards each other. Matter is bubbles within space. Gravity, listen, is squeezing those bubbles together. Our universe is a dynamic fluid-like substance set into motion and set into a downward motion. All right. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to tomorrow discuss gravity, as it relates to the fall. And we're going to take a look again from a linguistic standpoint because this tells the whole story. And the whole story is told, Malkiel, in the word
Mm-hmm.
and by the word
Yes.
and through the word. So we're going to stop right here and ask if there are any questions or comments.